Namaste and good morning, everyone. We'll start with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we will chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times, praying for those who are in suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone for our scriptures class. This is the second class of the course. So last time it was an overview where we saw the pattern, a little bit of the background of Bhagavad-Gita and also of Sanskrit. Now today we'll get into the actual verse. These are the steps for understanding a verse. So we chant the verse. And chanting is important because Sanskrit is a phonetic language. And when you chant, sometimes the meaning becomes clearer to you simply compared to reading. Because it is a poem, it's in a meter. You have to have the knowledge of the meter in order to chant it correctly. And I'll share that with you. The second step is splitting the sandhi words. So in Sanskrit, as I explained last time, the words when they come together, depending upon some phonetic rules, they coalesce together in a sentence. And that may look like a one big bird. And when you know how to split them into the individual components, it becomes much easier to see what those words mean. And then you can get the meaning of the sentence. Next step is identifying the word types and other details. If you remember, Sanskrit with all its complexity and flexibility, all the words can be essentially categorized into 3 word types: nominals, which is noun, pronoun, and adjectives; verb; and indeclinable. Then next is samasa, compound words. So just like sandhi, where two words come together in a sentence because they happen to be close to each other. Compound word or samasa or compound is a formation where words come together to make one word, to have a single meaning. And we have to understand those compound words. Then you have to further see any grammatical analysis, which is throwing some light on the individual words to see if you can get more information about those words. And then a step is anvaya, the order and meaning of the complete sentence. That is called anvaya in Sanskrit. So just because it's a poem, and Sanskrit is a flexible word order language, there is a lot of flexibility in terms of where the words are placed. But when you are trying to get the meaning, there is a recommended word order, and that is what is called anvaya, the text, like as if you are putting it in a text. And then last step is the explanation of the verse. So we'll see all these steps for our verse number first of the second chapter. So this is the verse of the first verse of the second chapter. And this document is already in the repository for you to download. So this has the verse, this has the sandhi split. So you see, for example, here, Kurpaya Vishtam. This looks like a one huge word, Kurpaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshana. But here we have provided you, because not every one of you would be knowing these rules, that what are the individual components. So wherever you see the space, that is a sandhi split. That means these two words are separate words. They just join together because they happen to be close together. And then this is where we put the hyphen, that is a compound word components. So this is actually one word, but it has multiple components, like bookshelf in English. You do not understand the meaning as separately book and shelf. You understand that it is a shelf for the books. So in Sanskrit, the compound words are numerous, and there are a lot of rules and possibilities. So first we have the verse, then we have the verse showing the sandhi and samasa splits, and then there is a simple English translation of the verse. So this document is already there. If you can download from the repository link, which has been provided to you in the email. So we'll chant this verse. The way we will do it, I'll chant. So this can be divided into, so this is Sanjaya Uvacha is only indicating that who is saying this. But this is the actual verse, from Tam to the Madhusudana. This is divided into 4 quartets of 8 syllables each. And these 8 syllables revolve around a vowel in Sanskrit. So that's how we will chant 8 syllables. That is called a quartet or a pada. So I'll chant it and you will chant after me, and then we can chant the whole verse together. So that way you will get to have the practice of the verse, how to chant. So in this case, this is an additional Sanjaya Vacha. Wherever there is a verse indicating that who is saying it, then you have this statement Sanjaya, like in this case Sanjaya Vacha. But generally the verse is considered from Tam to Madhusudana. The name of this meter, which has 8 syllables in each quartet, it's called Anushtup I'll write it for you just so that you can see. It's called Anushtup. Anushtup meter, Anushtup Chanda. So this is the name of a meter which has the 4 quartets, each quartet 8 syllables. So I'll chant this verse and you repeat after me and we'll do step by step. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Krupaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha. Now I'll chant the whole verse in one go and you repeat along with me, not after me. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Krupaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha. We'll use this spreadsheet to understand the verse meaning, the different analysis of different words. So because we are having this in-depth study, this is a very traditional way to understand the meaning of a verse. It's in Sanskrit, so you have to take the help of Sanskrit grammar to understand the meaning. If you are just not satisfied with translation alone and you want to go a little deeper. So here I have put the verse here in the top, and then I have listed all the words as they would be after the Sandhi split. So as I showed you in this file, these are the words Sanjaya, Uvacha, Tam, Tatha. These are the same words that I have put here. And then we'll see. Late in the end, we will see the Anvaya, the word order, and the translation. And then explanation of the verse. So I will not be explaining the Sandhi rules. For that, those who are interested, I think those who are the students of Sanskrit class, they can easily figure it out. Those who are not the students of Sanskrit class and you are interested in learning about those rules, you can refer to the video recordings and class notes of Sanskrit 1 course, the course for beginners. That's also in the same link on the repository. So Sanjaya, this word, this is a nominal word. So there is a nominal, there is a indeclinable, and there is a, so I have divided nominal into nominal verb and nominal pronoun. I think the indeclinable is missing. Let me quickly check why indeclinable is missing. So just a second, please. I'm using some of the Excel features here so that. Okay, now, so even though pronoun is also nominal, but here I have put the pronoun as separately so that you can see which ones are pronoun. And if you are using a smaller screen, it may not be all very visible. It's a lot of text. So I will recommend you to use a bigger screen like your PC or laptop or a big screen tablet. So Sanjay is the nominal. Uvacha is a verb form. And we'll get into a little bit more detail later. Tam is a nominal. So let me just quickly see. Uvacha is a verb. This is nominal. Tatha, this is indeclinable. Kurpaya, this is nominal. So Avishtam, this is also nominal. Ashrupuna Kulekshanam, nominal. Vishidantam, nominal. Idam is a pronoun. Vakyam is a nominal. Uvacha is a verb which is coming again. It has already come here. And Madhusudana is a nominal. We'll see what do they mean individually. So for nominal words, what you see in the yellow heading, these are the things applicable for nominal and pronouns. That what is the case, what is the number, what is the gender, what is the base word, and what is the meaning. And for the verbs, these are the things applicable in the bluish shade. So Sanjaya, it's a name, and that's why it's a nominal. It's a name, and these are the cases. So those who already know some Sanskrit, they will understand that for every nominal, there is 8 cases. And again, as I said, that if you are interested in learning grammar a little bit more, you can refer to that course. Even if you are not interested in Sanskrit grammar at all, then just listen to these things and you don't get bogged down too much about it. So this is a nominative, Sanjaya, because it represents a name and it's a singular. So number is singular, dual, plural. Sanskrit has 3 numbers. So this is a nominative singular. Nominative means that subject. He is the subject of the sentence. Subject, when I say grammatical subject. Like he goes or Sanjaya spoke, Sanjaya becomes the subject. Gender, it's a masculine gender. Base word. So if you know from Sanskrit that base word would be like Sanjaya, Sanjaya, like Rama, Ramaha, and meaning it's the name of a person. So these are the details. What it tells me is this, that it's the name of a person, Sanjaya, and he is the subject. He is the doer of the action in this sentence. That is what the subject means. Uvacha, it's a verb form. For the verb form, these are the things which are applicable. So what is the tense? Sanskrit has 10 tense and moods. Uvacha happen. So there are 3 types of past tense in Sanskrit. This lit is the past tense which is applicable here. There was a difference in these 3 types of past tenses. over a passage of time for thousands of years, the difference, the subtlety of the meaning is lost. So all three past tenses can be used for each other, but the different forms remain in the scriptures. That's why we have the lit lakara as the past tense. So all we have to understand that it's a past or future. We don't have to be, I mean, if you want to be a little bit more grammatically oriented, you can know that which kind of past tense. But as far as the meaning is concerned, that remains pretty much the same, irrespective of which past tense is being used. Then the person, first, second, or third person. So it's a third person. First person would be I and we. Second person would be you, and third person would be everybody else. So it's a third person. Then it's a singular. Verb type. So this is a very specific thing in Sanskrit, whether a verb is parasmaipadi or atmanepadi. Just like the three past tenses, the subtlety is lost. The verb type subtlety is also lost. It doesn't matter for the meaning whether something is parasmaipadi or atmanepadi. But if you want to analyze a form like what is uvacha, to understand the meaning, you have to know whether it is parasmaipadi or atmanepadi, because the forms will differ. So that's where the usage is of parasmaipadi. The root is here happens to be vach, and that can be, how do we know what is the root for a given verb? Like vacha, what is the root? So that requires some knowledge of grammar. There is no automatic way of knowing. There are some tools some people have designed, and I have given the address of those tools, but those tools are still work in progress and may not be very reliable. But the idea is that you have to have some knowledge of grammar to find out what is the root. And the meaning of this root is to say, to speak. That's the meaning. And then last column here is comments. So now if you look at, we have this root, this word called uvacha. It's a past tense. And who spoke? Sanjay spoke. So in Sanskrit, that is another thing. In order to find out the meaning of a sentence, the verb is the central piece. The whole sentence revolves around the verb. As one sentence, one verb. So it's a one-to-one relationship. When you identify a verb form, then you have to identify who is the doer of that verb. The verb represents the action. Even if it's an action of standing, sitting, or sleeping, it's still considered a verb, an action in Sanskrit. And there should be a subject, the doer of that action. So that is what it means here to see that uvacha is the verb form. And now who is the subject? Sanjaya is the subject. So Sanjaya spoke because it is the past tense and it's a singular. Parasmaipadi does not change the meaning, or atmanepadi. It is just to indicate how the form has come about. But that one does not change the meaning. So literally Sanjaya uvacha would mean Sanjaya spoke because it's a past tense verb. So it's a simple. So if you look at now, when you can break the words, when you understand that a word, the sentence includes one verb form, it becomes easier to understand the meaning of the sentence. Tam is a, so tam here is the accusative case. So it's a pronoun and it's an accusative case. the second case we say. It has the meaning of, in the sense of two. So all these cases, they have a corresponding preposition in English. As you can imagine, these are the rough mappings. Like by and large, they hold good, but Sanskrit is its own language, and no two languages you can really map each other word for word, and definitely not Sanskrit and English because they are quite different. But generally, the idea is that this is the case represents a idea of preposition, just the same thing as in preposition in English. This is also singular, it's masculine, and here the base word is tad. How do you know tad is the tam? As I said, it requires some knowledge of grammar. If you have already been attending Sanskrit class, you can easily understand what does it mean. But tad is the base word here, and here the meaning is he. So if you look at now the he, but it's a second case, singular. So in English, it will become him. So this is the meaning of the base word, he. And here in the bracket, I can put the meaning of the word here, tam. So, or other way around probably would be better. So him, and then he would be the meaning of the base word. Tatha, it's an indeclinable. So for an indeclinable, you don't have to have any of these yellow details or blue details. An indeclinable is the word which always remains the same irrespective of the number or gender, whatever is the case, it remains the same form. So all we have to see the meaning. So tatha means thus. Kurpaya, it's an instrumental case. It's a singular. It's a feminine noun. Here the base word is krupa. Krupa. And the meaning here is compassion, pity. This is the meaning of base word. So it will become by compassion, by pity, or by or with. Sometimes it is used in the sense of with. But when we translate into English, we have to use the preposition as it makes sense in the sentence. We cannot blindly just copy one to one, as I said. But this gives you an idea that this is the instrumental case, and that's what the meaning would be. Avishtam would be a accusative, singular, masculine, and the base word here would be avishta. And here the meaning would be overcome. One who has overcome in that sense. Ashru Purna Kulekshanam. It's a pretty long word. Ashru Purna Kulekshanam. And this is the meaning, this is the accusative, singular, masculine, and this will be the base word, and we have to see what is the meaning here. And for that, you see this is a samasa word, and it consists of these four components: Ashru, Purna, Akula, Ikshanam. So we have to understand the meaning of these individual words, and this is what you can find in the dictionary. So this is another thing. If you read an English text and you do not understand a word, you can refer to that word in dictionary and you will find the meaning. Not so in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, we have to understand some grammatical aspect of the word in order to get the meaning of the word. So once you will not find Ashru Purna Kolekshanam in dictionary, you will find these words, and then you have to understand how to make the sense. So Ashru means tear, Purna means full, Akula means agitated, and Ikshanam means eye. So this, if you look at simply, now it must be very clear that eye is full of tears and agitated. Yet this compound, it does not refer to a eyes, it refers to a person. It's called this compound called Bahubrihi Samasa in Sanskrit. It refers to a person who has these eyes which are agitated and which are full of tears. So one who has eyes which are full of tears and agitated. So this is what it meaning is. It refers to a person. So this requires a little bit of a grammar knowledge. And in our Sanskrit class, for our Sanskrit class students, we have not covered this particular type of compound word in detail yet. Vishidantam, it's an accusative case, singular, masculine, and the base word here would be, so this here, this is a special word. Here the base word would be Vishidat, and here it means lamenting. I have not covered this particular part in the Sanskrit grammar class yet. We will see that later, how to make these forms. But this is what it would mean, lamenting. Idam, this is a pronoun. This is an accusative. Singular. This is a neuter case. And here the base word means idam, same, and the meaning is this. Vakyam. It's also the same accusative, singular, neuter. And this would be words, sentence. Uvacha, we have already covered this. This is a verb form. So I'll just copy and paste from there. And Madhusudana, it is a nominative, singular, masculine, so Madhusudana also is a samasa, compound word. It's a consistent of two words, Madhu, Sudanaha. Madhu is the name of a demon. Sudana means the killer. So killer of Madhu. It's the name of Lord Krishna who killed this demon. So killer of demon Madhu, Krishna. This is the name of Krishna. So now if you look at the verb form, because I said verb form is the one which has the around which the sentence revolves in Sanskrit. we already found that this is one verb form, so this becomes one sentence. Sanjaya said. So we can even write the translation. Sanjaya said. Okay. Now what did he say? This is the next sentence. So this is one sentence, because uvacha is the one verb in this sentence. So I'll just reduce the size so that whole thing can be seen on the screen. So once you identify these are all the words in the sentence. Once you identify the verb, you have to see that what is the subject of the verb. And for that, the first case would be the subject. Out of all these words, only one word is in the nominative, first case. That means Madhusudana said, the Lord Krishna said. So this is clear. So Sanjay is saying that Lord Krishna spoke. What did he speak? Then you have to see the second case to see what did he speak. So look at all the second case words here. There are so many words, 6 words in total. When the Sanskrit has some verbs like speaking, which takes 2 objects. One is to the person whom you are speaking to, and the words you are speaking to. So there are two objects here. One is so I'll just mark it in yellow so that you can see. And then other accusative case, I'll mark it in the yellow. So he spoke idam vakyam, this word, this sentence, or you can in English when we translate, we can say these words. He spoke these words. Which words that will follow in the next verse? And to whom he spoke, that is being covered by this. So when you see so many words in the accusative, that means it is referring to the same entity. And that is the beauty of Sanskrit, that once you understand some fundamentals of grammar, it's quite easy to get to the meaning of the sentence. So here he spoke to Arjuna, who is given the accusative, and to him. So to what are his qualities? He is overcome. Overcome by what? Compassion. So this is further qualifying the accusative. Krupaya avishtam. And how is he, Arjuna? He is ashrupurna kulekshanam. His eyes are agitated and full of tears. That is his condition. And he is lamenting, dejected. Vishidantam. So in this case, you see that's all the meaning is. That Lord Krishna spoke these words to him who is overcome by compassion, whose eyes are agitated and full of tears, and who is lamenting. Now, when we put the sentence in English, you try to put it in whichever way it makes the best sense in English, as per the English grammar and English choice of words. The idea is that you understand what it means. So that's how we understand a sentence in Sanskrit. So we can write here simple. Of course, there could always be a choice. How do you write in English? But this is the idea that Madhusudana, we can say it's a name of Krishna. So Krishna spoke these words to I'm saying Arjuna because it's referring, even though the word as Arjuna is not used, to him. It says basically him. And yes, one more word is here, tatha, thus. This is an indeclinable. So we have to put the thus here, thus, or in this manner. Thus Krishna spoke these words to, so where is Arjuna coming from? We'll see. To him who is overcome by compassion or pity, who is lamenting, and whose eyes are agitated and full of tears. So I hope this gives you an idea that how do we analyze, how do we understand the words in a Sanskrit verse to try to figure out the meaning. And it may look pretty imposing if you look at the verse as a whole, like such long words, what do they mean? You understand some fundamentals of grammar and it becomes so easy to understand what it means. And many times you will see the translation, even if you understand the translation and you are not in a position to translate everything by yourself because the grammar level is not so advanced, you can at least figure out if somebody has given the meaning or the word meaning, that whether it is representing it correctly or not. And if they have taken an alternative translation, then how is it possible to have the alternative translation? Because in Sanskrit, there could be many meanings for a given word and many words for a given meaning. This is the Sanskrit Anvaya, which shows that how the sentence is written. So Sanjaya Uvacha, one word, Tatha Krupaya Avishtam Ashrupurna Akula Ikshanam Vishidantam Tam Madhusudanaha Idam Vakyam Uvacha. So generally the verb comes in the last in Sanskrit, subject, object, verb. So subject, object, verb. Other cases can be put in different places. Just to understand the context of now this verse. So if you know in Gita, first chapter, Arjuna goes to battlefield. Lord Krishna is his charioteer. He asks Lord Krishna that take my chariot between both the armies so that I can see whom I have to fight. Lord Krishna does accordingly. He places his chariot in between two armies where he can see both sides. The way he places it, he places in front of where Bhishma and Drona, Arjuna's teachers, are there. Arjuna looks at both the armies. And as I told you in the last class, this is a war between cousins. And of course, many other kings have joined one of the parties of India. Arjuna looks at both sides, and what he sees that both sides are relatives. There are brothers, uncles, teachers, students, sons, grandsons, in-laws. That's what he sees. And looking at this thing, he understands that not only the destruction would be great, but whoever wins, whether we win or even if we win, it's really not a win. It's still a kind of loss only. Because the ones for whom we care, we have to kill them in order to win this battle. Looking at and thinking about this situation, he became so depressed. He said, "Oh Lord, please help me. My hands are shaking. I am not even able to hold the bow of the bow and arrows. And I do not see any point in fighting this battle." And Arjuna laments. A huge amount of verses are devoted to his lamentation in the first chapter. And Lord Krishna very calmly listens till Arjuna has said everything what he had to say, and then he quietens down. So then the second chapter of Gita starts, where he is saying that, thus Lord Krishna. So Sanjay is saying, thus Lord Krishna spoke to him. So him is actually referring to a previous chapter description. So because the story is going on from the previous chapter, that's why he is referring to him instead of giving the name of Arjuna here. That Lord Krishna spoke these words to him who was overcome by compassion, who was lamenting, and whose eyes are agitated and full of tears. He spoke these words. That is what it means here. So I hope that this method of analysis, and this is a very traditional way, and after this analysis, then the philosophical aspects are discussed of the verse. And this, even in discussing the philosophical aspects, you have to see that the grammar wise they should be in place, and even the metaphorical aspects. So what Lord Krishna represents, what Arjuna represents. So metaphorical aspects also you will be able to understand better if you understand some basic grammar. So with this, I just want to take any questions you may have. So let me go to the chat box. So there is a question. Since this is a Gita class and not a grammar class, can we focus more on the spiritual angle and try to understand of the essence of Sri Krishna's teachings? Who are interested in grammar can attend the detailed grammar class. Let me know if this makes sense. Okay, so as I said in my message, for the purpose of this course is to understand the in-depth study. And in order to have an in-depth study of Gita, you have to understand the language in which it is written. And that's the purpose why we are going, and we will discuss some philosophical aspects, of course. But we are taking this route, and this is the purpose of this course. If you are only interested in the philosophical message of Bhagavad-Gita without bothering anything about Sanskrit at all, and if this is becoming a lot for you, then I would recommend you can watch Guruji's videos. He does discuss a little bit of Sanskrit, but primarily it is a message for the philosophical and the metaphorical aspect. And even after this class, that class, in my opinion, would make more sense. Guruji's teachings would make more sense because you would have already a background in some grammar. There is a question, will the spreadsheet be shared with us? Yes, I'll put the spreadsheet or the PDF printout of this spreadsheet in the repository. Okay, so there is a spelling correction here, that when you use the masculine, you always write masculine without S. So I'll change that. I see this mistake here. This is a typo. So I'll change that. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Why is the verse in the present tense when spoke is used? Verse is not in present tense. Verse is in past tense. I'm not sure where you are seeing the present tense. Sanjay said Lord Krishna spoke these words to him. So this is not a present. This is not a past tense. This is not a present tense. This is past tense. There's a comment here, Pranam Baba, the way you explained so clear and beautiful. Thank you. Tatha can also apply to how Arjuna is lamenting. Tatha, this word tatha is representing that thus. That means it is referring to the previously. So whatever has happened previously, it is continuation of that. That's what the word tatha is representing here. So it represents Arjuna's lamentation and other things. What is the title of the table document we just worked on that is in the repository? If you go to the repository, verse analysis files, that's where it will go, in this verse analysis files. Can we download the notes? Yes, you can download the notes. This will be in the repository. When chanting, how to know when to take a pause? Maybe next time I can explain a little bit more detail. After every 8 syllables, you have to take a pause. So that is a good point. I'll probably focus next time a little bit more on that. There is a comment here. I think Sanskrit grammar is offering us to go deep through philosophy and have our own understanding. Yes. And that is how traditionally all the great masters who wrote the commentaries, they always, because it's in Sanskrit, you have to have the knowledge of Sanskrit in order to analyze it deeper. There is a question, who is Sanjaya? Is he the coach of King Dhritarashtra? And is this right? And is he speaking to Dhritarashtra? So this is not a talk between Arjuna and Krishna. Okay, so you see the word Sanjaya. So in Sanskrit, the narratives go between each other. So as I told you, the whole thing is a part of Mahabharata. And all the scriptures from India, they are in the form of dialogue between two persons. So if you look at Mahabharata as a whole, it is being taught from, it is a dialogue between sage Vaishampayana, who is the disciple of Vyasa, who wrote Mahabharata, to a king named Janmejaya. So between Vaishampayana and Janmejaya, so Vaishampayana is telling this story to Janmejaya, or the story of Mahabharata. Because Vyasa said, I have already taught you, so you please tell the king what is the story. And he starts telling the story, and in that story, lot of character comes. And when those characters speak, then he says, this character said. So Vaishampayana is saying Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya is the charioteer of Dhritarashtra, as well as his secretary, you can say. He has been given some special powers, if you go to the story of Mahabharata, that he can see from the distance. He doesn't have to be in the battlefield. He could be in the drawing room with Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is blind. He cannot see. So Sanjaya is narrating what is happening on the battlefield in the real time. So this is a further than between the main dialogue, there is a further dialogue between Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra. And when Sanjaya is narrating, then he is narrating the dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. So like that, it is like a nested thing. And that's a very common way of saying the things in, describing the things in Sanskrit. When you chanted the last line of the verse 2, it seemed a little faster and different than previous. Is this common? No, it should not have been. If it was, if you perceived it that way, that could be a little bit imperfection on my part. But there is no tradition or no nothing like that, that one part has to be chanted fast. And there is a question, Pranam Swamiji, what do the tables Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha means, and what do they signify? They signify the declensions of nominals. So nouns, adjectives, pronouns. So please refer to the notes in class 1 and video classes. You will get more information on that. Will we learn more about the meters in which the verses are chanted? Yes, I can provide a little bit more information next class. There is a question, Baba, noticed you did not include the voice, active and passive voice column for the verb. Is there a reason? So I would put that in the comments whenever there is a passive voice. Generally it's active, so I did not just want to put another column, but this is a valid way, it's a valid element in order to understand a sentence. There's a comment, thank you so much Swamiji for such effort. It's our blessing to be a part of this course. Thank you. Third also is a typo. Okay, I'll correct third typo of that also before I post. Is there any way to figure out the meaning of the words? Do we need to learn these as we proceed? If you can understand what is the base word, then you can see these in the dictionary. But in order to know the base word, you have to know the grammar. So that is the rule. You see the words which appear in the sentence, and you will not find generally them in the dictionary, except indeclinables. Then you identify the base word or the root of the verb that you can look in the dictionary, and then you can know the meaning. Is overcome present tense? So overcome is a present tense. It's not really a present tense. It's a different construction, but it's like overcome by compassion. He has already overcome by compassion. So in that sense, it's not present tense. Lamenting on the other hand is say continuing. He is in the position of lamentation, like as is continuing. Then that is present tense. What is the video by Guruji for Bhagavad-Gita and where to find it? So Swami Sampurnananji, she is working on bringing those videos by doing a lot of editing and putting a lot of things, like if Guruji has spoken any Sanskrit words, to transcribe those and put that in the screen. So that's a lot of effort right now going on, and she told me that they will be coming soon. I do not have a date. When I hear from her, I will let you know. There is a comment, word by word with Sanskrit rules and roots. It's truly divine to go through this study. Thank you. Okay, there is a question which is separate from this Sanskrit class. From Aram Babal, I'll tackle that later. There's some comments for thank you and saying very well done. I really appreciate your appreciation. Thank you so much. So there is a comment here, question, could you give a metaphorical interpretation of Kriyabans? So the purpose of this class is not really to give the metaphorical interpretation. We'll discuss some philosophical aspects, but if you really want to have the details of those, then I will definitely recommend you to Guruji's classes. He has taken almost 1 hour for many verses, even more than 1 hour, but he has gone in really detail of metaphorical, philosophical, and how is it useful from a seeker's perspective. We'll discuss a little bit, but not so much going into the metaphorical aspect. There is a comment, lot of grammar depth for non-Sanskrit students, but very good breakdown, like the analysis of chanting, sentence breakdown, and connection to meaning. Thank you. Did you say the name for the meter is Anushtup? Yes, it's an Anushtup Chanda. There's a comment here, I missed the first class. Am I missing a lot? No, you are not missing a lot, but you can always catch up. Whenever you miss a class, we are going to post the videos. So it was a class where I gave an overview. It would be nice for you to watch that class. Thank you for the class and explanations. It's a complex but a beautiful study. Thank you. Lamenting in English is a verb. In Sanskrit, it is a nominal. Why? Lamenting in English, just to let you know, it's not a verb. It's a participle. It's a JUN participle. And Sanskrit also, it's a participle. We have not gone into the details of those things, but it's a participle. If possible, can chant again before the end of the class. We'll chant the verse. Can we still join the Sanskrit class? You can. But if you have not taken the Sanskrit 1 course, then all the videos, class notes, exercises are there. I would recommend you to go through those. You can in parallel join Sanskrit 2, but remember Sanskrit study builds upon each other. And but you can join the Sanskrit class, it's okay, just register it. The link should still be there on the, or you can send us an email and we'll send you the link. For singing the Gita, I found only chapter 12. Do you have more like links, please, Swamiji? I'm not sure what is your question. Thanks, Baba, for a complete detailed explanation. Like the breakups, could understand better. Really don't want to miss any class. There is a comment, Pranams. Thank you so much for the class. The spreadsheet format for verse analysis is really nice and helpful. So this is what we can use with the modern tools. We can use a spreadsheet. Otherwise, all we had to do was they were put, like if you read the commentaries, it was all given in the text alone. Where can we find the link for the first class? It's in the video folder on the repository in the class videos. You can watch the class video for the first class. So one thing I wanted to just check with you, next Saturday is the 4th July. So how many of you would like to have the class? If you can quickly, or would you like to take off on, would you like to have off on that day? So next Saturday is the 4th July. It's the Independence Day in USA. So if you can quickly tell me in the comments, then accordingly we can decide whether we want to have the 4th July class or not. So if you can quickly tell me some comments, I'm seeing the have class. So, okay, I'll look at the comments, and please send the comments right now. I'll look at the comments and then we'll inform you by email whether we are having the class or not. So please only send the comments. Don't raise the hands because I cannot see the hands right now at the same time. So please just say yes or no, yes for the class or no for the class. But the reason normally it would be off, but because most of the people anywhere confined to home because of coronavirus crisis, there was a sort of question whether we should have it or not. So we will check your comments and we will let you know by the email. So please check your email for having the information whether we are going to have the class or not. And any other questions which I may have missed on this chat window, I try to take most of the questions. But if I missed them, then please send them by the email. With this, we'll just chant this verse again and then closing prayers. So we did only one verse today, but it was good. We went in depth. So I'll chant the verse. You can chant along with me, or you can just listen. Sanjaya uvacha tam tatha krupaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam vishidantamidam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha. Then just the closing prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you everyone.